And now big welcome for all of you that were watching SMU and Wake Forest. Well, there's a little hook there, isn't it? 6 degrees of Jake Dickert. Wake Forest beats SMU in the final minute. And we come to Pullman, where Jake Dickert did a wonderful job as a coach here the last couple of years. It is now Jimmy Rogers at Washington State. And the Cougs playing their first home game in 35 days, meeting Toledo from the MAC. We welcome you with us. I'm Ted. Ryan's here. Nigel's on the sideline. And in this cool day, there's the second drive starting for Toledo, and our impact players are brought to you by Old Spice.
Yeah, Jacob Peterson, a tight end, 8 career touchdowns so far, but he's going to be an integral part not only in catching the football today, but also in the blocking game. And as for Tucker Large, we talked about him already. He's going to be matched up with their best wide receiver, and just as we saw on that last play, fitting in the run game.
Tucker Gleason gets it to their man. This is their top receiver, first team All-MAC last year, having a brilliant year again this year, Junior Vander Ross.
You know, kind of give you an idea of size, Tucker Gleason. If you guys remember what Tim Tebow looked like as a college football, that's about what that size was. Yeah, Tim was about 6'3", 240, 245 pounds, and he would run through you and throw through you, and that's exactly the kind of quarterback we've seen in Tucker Gleason. His lower half is pretty substantial, we'll put it at that.
And Toledo is playing for the second straight week without their lead running back, the former Arizona State and Ohio State running back Chip Trainum, who's out with an injury. Gleason on the roll, hits his man, and that's going to be a first down just across midfield, and that is Ryder Treadway.
Just a little rollout, and then a crosser comes inside and back outside, and that's Ryder Treadway who makes the catch and picks up the first down.
Jimmy Rogers, first season as the head coach, an entirely new everything this year, and I'm sure many of you already know that, having seen the Cougs this year. An entirely new staff, top to bottom, and a virtual entire roster changeover. And off the play action throw, he had Vander Ross running in the middle of the field, but Gleason missed.
Yeah, he had a real opportunity here. Washington State is sitting in zone, and the underneath coverage gets left behind. If he puts a little more touch over the top of that linebacker with the speed of Vander Ross, that could have gone all the way for 6. Luckily for the Cougs, ball was thrown a little bit more on the line and never quite got a chance to get to that speedy wide receiver.
And one of the big hooks for Toledo on 2nd and 10 from their coach Jason Candle today is just play well on the road. They've had struggles on the road. As a run there by Connor Wallenczak is stopped after a 2-yard gain. They 2 weeks ago at Bowling Green led 21-0 just before halftime and lost the game. As Jason Candle, now in his 10th year as the head coach at Toledo, he's been with the program since 2009, and you see that in the bottom. He's also calls the plays.
Yeah, that's pretty good, those statistics, if you guys were wondering at home. First and second in pretty much every major offensive category.
All right, now they have a 3rd and 8. And the crossing route is caught, but a good tackle right on the spot. Colby Humphrey stops the receiver, Trayvon Rudolph, about 4.5 yards short.
Yeah, this is just a man-to-man coverage, just a crosser across the field. Colby Humphrey just behind him enough, but soon as the ball is caught, right on the spot to pull him down and make the tackle.
Ooh, and Rudolph did not get up after that tackle. So Rudolph down. And again, Toledo already here without their top running back. Rudolph would be one of their top 2 receivers. So while they tend to him, will step away in Pullman. Welcome back to CW Football Saturday, presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99. Part of a terrific Saturday day and night on CW, and it's family weekend here in Pullman. Yes, the team hasn't been here in 35 days. Won't play again for another couple of weeks here at home. What a change, Ryan Leaf. Last time the Cougs played on this field, it was the Apple Cup game, and Washington hung a big number on them.
We don't need to talk about that.
I was going to say, the addendum is the Cougs went on the road the next week, won at Colorado State. As Tony Freeman fair catches the punt, and then had back-to-back terrific efforts against ranked teams on the road at Ole Miss and Virginia.
Timeout of the field.
You're watching CW Football Saturday. It's presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99. Now with spicy 3-meat sauce. By Royal Caribbean, come seek. And by Progressive Commercial Insurance. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. All the Saints part of family weekend here. Seattle Airport yesterday was filled with folks that were trying to get on the oversold flights, hopping from Seattle over to Spokane to come down for this weekend to see their young ones here in Pullman. As Washington State backed up, going to try to push the ball out with the run and get stuffed on first down with freshman Maxwell Woods on the run. They just honored here during that last timeout, 10-year anniversary of a good team here, 2015 team that won the Sun Bowl.
Yeah, led by Luke Falk, who owns every Pac-12 passing record you can imagine during the Mike Leach era. Just an incredible young man, doing some amazing things now in the mental health space and team building. It's a great fit for him as a leader.
Well, a -1 on the first down run play. Quick throw out here to Meredith, but Toledo smothers that all over. Avery Smith on the hit there as we look at more impact players, brought to you by Old Spice.
Impact players on this side of the football for Washington State. Kirby Voorhees, who's had 289 rushing yards. He's been the much better running back over the last few weeks. But listen, the defense for Toledo is led by Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. 37 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, interception. He's going to be in the position to make a lot of tackles at the line of scrimmage as well as defend down the field.
Well, you get an idea of the Toledo defense right away. 2 straight negative plays. It's 3rd and 14 for the Cougars. Kirby Voorhees leaks out. Eckhouse pulls the ball down. He gets sacked. He's going to be marked in the field of play, barely. Malachi Davis got him, drove him back in the end zone, but spotted the first hit is going to be at the 2.
I mean, I don't know how
3 straight negative plays.
I don't know how many times, we've said Malachi Davis's name already, but he just swings around, beats his defender, and then gets to the quarterback and gets him on the ground. A very, very stark reminder of what happened a week ago at Virginia, back by their own goal line.
No kidding. That's exactly what it looked like. So it's going to be a short punt setup here for Ryan Harris. And Toledo should get pretty good field spot out of this.
That's a bomb.
Harris does hit that really well. Way back, Bryson Hammer. Cougars trying to cover this. Oh boy, Hammer does a nice job. He got about 7 yards back on the return. 55-yard punt. That's really well done by Ryan Harris.
I mean, that's the type of thing that we talked about a week ago, right? If you just get out of that position and punt the ball, maybe you have and give a chance to your defense. Instead, they get tackled for a safety and lose that game that they led pretty much from the start. So this has been very much a defensive football game. Both offenses haven't been able to do it.
Well, there's a great name in Toledo in all football history. Emlyn Tennell. He's the first African-American inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was a trailblazer. Came to Toledo to play in 1942 because other schools wouldn't have him. He played for a year, played both football, basketball. You see the basketball thing, suffered a broken neck as a result, and his military service was limited to the Coast Guard. After that, he wound up playing at Iowa. You see his NFL career, and there's the trailblazer, first African-American in Canton. So on the 2nd down and 9.
Ball start, offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
The bane of all coaches that we heard both sides talk a lot about this week. Both sides were talking about the damaging pre-snap.
I mean, they're just so controllable. That's the thing. And you have enough opportunities for fouls to occur during the process of a play. The ones that you can control, those pre-snap and post-snap penalties, and the ones that frustrate the coaches the most.
2nd and 14 now for Toledo. Tucker Gleason. Second season as the starter in Toledo's 6th year. He spent his first 2 years at Georgia Tech. Now 4 years at Toledo. And look at that. Kenji Christian out of the backfield, able to try to cross the field. He does get close to the first down at the Washington State 45 before Colby Humphrey tackles.
This is this play all about the protection. Just great protection. Comes to his check down and a really great speed there. Luckily for Washington State, Colby Humphrey is not afraid to stick his head in there, and he comes and makes the tackle to position them for a 3rd down stop.
Connor Wallenczak, the back and the pistol, gets the handoff and the push. I think, yes, the push is going to get him. So we're allowed to have rugby in football, and that rugby play there gets Toledo a 1st down.
Yeah. There's a good look from the ump cam coming right at us. Makes contact. There's a stop, but there's nothing you can do when he keeps driving his feet. For as much push as he may have got behind it, that was all driven with those legs from the running back.
Terrific effort there. Chip trained him again. Not here with Toledo. 2nd straight week he's out. So it's Kenji Christian lead, Connor Wallenczak the 2nd back. And Buda Paletti there leads the Washington State defensive front. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. So trained him with over 600 yards. Trained him's career both. Well, Toledo's his 4th school. The prior 3 schools, injuries have curtailed a lot of his playing time, and it's happened again the last 2 weeks. But Toledo has a big MAC game coming up against Northern Illinois. They want to be sure train him is at his best for that. Nice step aside there by Gleason, and he finds his receiver. That's Terrell Crosby for a 1st. Let's see. Nope, going to be just short of a 1st.
This is just mesh. Washington State fans know this really well. Both those receivers in man coverage, so they just keep going. He throws the ball. Pressure was not much at all until a guy comes off the edge way too late. Easily avoided by Tucker Gleason. He makes a great throw and sets up a 3rd and short.
Yep. Linebacker Caleb Franzel went flying by Gleason. Toledo needs 2. And Gleason pulled the ball back, but the drop. Eric Holly. And now first big coaching decision here for Toledo, 4th and 2.
Great job on the zone read. Just triple option to his pitch man out there, puts it perfectly in Eric Holly's arms, and he just turns and looks up the field before he puts it in his belly and picks up the 1st down, 4th down.
That'll be a 50 to 51 yard try. So this is a Jason Candle play to say, no, I like my shot here to get 2 full yards. You see the tight end shift and then a movement. And I believe it's the right guard. The question is, does the defense do something? Again, this is a MAC crew. Head linesman ran in quickly.
Legal snap.
Nope.
On the offense, number 52. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
It was Anthony Boswell on the front for Toledo. So that's going to change Jason Candle completely. It's not within the kicker's field goal range. So instead it's going to be Emilio Duran to try the punt. The field goal here would be 55 to 56. Beyond the range of Dylan Kunanen, the place kicker rather. Toledo with that defense willing to play the field position game. Line drive punt there. Tony Freeman comes up and makes the catch at the 11. And we'll see if the Cougars can get their offense and see if Zevi Ackhouse can lead them out of a deep in their own zone when we come back late in the 1st quarter. This is CW Football Saturday. It's part of CW Super Sports Weekend, brought to you by Ariat. When you're thinking boots and jeans, you're thinking Ariat. Now Toledo playing the field position game largely because of this. National ranks for their defense.
Yeah, the impressive one there is 2.5 yards a carry. They're under that today. And you're exactly right. Both defenses have played great. There has to be some sort of offensive shift here and trade an explosive play or something to get one of these two teams going in the opposite direction.
All right, Angel Johnson gets the call on first down, and on the run cover comes in Avery Smith off the corner. Well, we were talking with Danny Freund, the offensive coordinator, yesterday. He was saying, you try to call up the cut-ups, as it's called, the grouping of plays by their classification. He said, aren't very many explosive plays.
Not many explosive plays, and not much red zone
Exactly. Exactly. Second down and 10. That is Carter Pabst in motion. Eckhouse is going to keep it off the pull, and he'll get some yardage. And that's going to give the Cougars a shot on third down. Eckhouse out to the 17.
Really,
Eckhouse out to the 17.
Really, their game at all. Just a zone read by Zevi. He pulls it. I wish he would have stayed to the outside and taken on Andre Fuller there, maybe one-on-one. Instead, he comes back in where everybody's flowing to him and gets him to the ground. Nigel, what do you got?
Just down here on the sideline watching everything that you guys are talking about. And I'm looking for Washington State's offense to take a shot with the way that Toledo is really packing the box.
I mean, look at that. Every player they have is within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. They are not threatened by the passing game at all.
Eckhouse underneath, and that's going to be a catch and a first down. Trey Lechner, tight end, on the catch, and Cougars get their first down.
Defense has given them the opportunity, has kept them in the game, and had a chance to put this situation in place. It's just a little out. We have the circle right there of their tight end, Lechner, and he just gets to the outside, has leverage, and just stays. Good throw to his outside shoulder for the first down.
Leo Pulalasi is now the back. He'll block. Nope, didn't get the block out there. And that is Martez Pointer, another one of the veteran players, a sixth-year defensive lineman.
6'4", 294 pounds too. Just does a great job of standing up. Number 66, and then just sheds him to grab Eckhouse and pull him down. Otherwise, this is a big play. It might be out the gate for at least another first down.
Well, both these teams are experienced, and we know we're at the very tail end of the COVID eras with the extra years. Toledo has 21 players on their roster, fifth year or more. 9 sixth-year players. The Cougs have a lot in their own right, including the transfers that came with Jimmy Rogers from South Dakota State. That has the look of a holding flag. Eckhouse gets out in the open field, and he has a first down gain but nope, it's a hold.
Holding offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
And Ryan, we should also reference, you see 67, Johnny Lester. The Washington State offensive line is continued to be riddled by injury. Christian Hilborn is still out. Caldwell is now out. Lester kicking out from left guard to right tackle today. And 75, Noah Dunham, who's a redshirt sophomore, gets the start at left guard.
And when you want to run the football, that's a prerequisite of this offense to get going. You need those guys up front to be sturdy and have some consistency each and every week.
Oh, big. Wow, that's the Crimson Sea that just parted up the middle for Eckhouse, and he punches that out to give them a shot. There'll be a short third.
Just a great call. You go empty, something you've probably seen on film all week, that they vacate their linebackers. We like to use that when we went empty, where if I saw the linebackers move and only have the safeties out there split, I would just goose my center with a little tap, and we'd roll together, and that's exactly what Zevi did to make up a manageable third down.
So 3rd and 3. Oh, and they got, it's a free play. No, do they blow it dead? And Washington State side is unhappy. Apparently they blew the play dead.
Offside. Defense. Number 93. Causing the offensive player prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Malachi Davis moves here. And just when you think there's going to be a free play, the contact is made and the play's killed.
And the understanding by the defense there that they most likely weren't going to run a play with the end of the quarter, just trying to draw on offsides. Not ready, not understanding the timing of the football game right at the end. Now they get a chance to run an untimed down. No, it won't, because it was a defensive penalty.
Yep.
How that works.
That's in the first quarter.
Yep, so it's a first down. That's 3 free snap penalties against Toledo in this opening quarter. Well, it's a cool day. There's wind. And the idea, there may not be a lot of points on this day. That's certainly the story in the first quarter.
Well, Coach, you got a defensive slugfest here in the first quarter. What do you have to do to get your offense to break out and start putting some points on the scoreboard?
Yeah, we got to flip the field for one, but that was big by our offense, 2nd and 20, to get out of that type of situation. So make the most of these drives, not kill ourselves, and eliminate error as much as possible.
Appreciate the time, Coach.
Well, a defensive first quarter reflected there in the numbers, brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Yeah, we talked to the coaches about the situation with Zebby Eckhouse to start the season and Jackson Potter. One of the biggest concerns was if they couldn't run the ball, you have to have a quarterback that can do a couple different things back there in the pocket. It's a perfect example of this so far. Only, 23 yards rushing, and they're all by Zebby Eckhouse. And they've only thrown for 4 yards on the other side of that. So he's going to be a big part of them being successful, not only with his passing arm, but with his legs as well in the running game.
Yeah. And it's there's another play to tack onto your point, Ryan. I mean, Angel Johnson trying to run a little off tackle there, and Eshawn Carter stops. And right now the Toledo defensive front is winning big time.
Yeah, they've absolutely dominated the front seven right now, and not allowing Washington State to get any sort of leverage at the point of attack.
So 2nd and 1, pitch back. Taking the shot, Meredith's out there. And Washington State, the first explosive of the game. Eckhouse to Meredith for 41.
Just a wonderful job. They've been dominating the running game, so they all flock to it, and Meredith gives a subtle little hint with his head and just goes over the top. Well thrown ball too. Sometimes the hardest ball to throw is a wide open wide receiver, not to overthrow them, underthrow them. Perfectly placed allows them to make the catch for an explosive play on 2nd down.
Well, something that Toledo has not experienced much on defense this year, run or pass. They have not allowed a lot of explosives, and the Cougars get the first big one. And now with the play clock running out, Washington State will take a team timeout.
Timeout. Washington State. First half. 30-second timeout.
All right, so a team timeout called there as the Cougars trying to get themselves settled down with the ball at the 23 of Toledo.
Great job of fusing the run game back to him, and in a wide open receiver, he puts it on his body for the big explosive play to swap the fields here for Washington State.
For over 150 years, American Standard has been the trusted name in bathroom products, and now they're making it easier than ever to upgrade yours. American Standard offers full shower remodels, beautifully customized and installed in as little as 2 days.
Wow, gotta love that.
That fast install's a big plus.
Guided by a personal in-home design consultation, choose from 24 shower wall options. Stylish, grout-free, easy to clean.
No more grout to scrub.
Every shower is installed by factory-certified technicians, backed by a limited lifetime warranty, including installation. And right now, save $1,500 on your bathroom remodel with no interest and no payments for 12 months. Call or scan now. 1-800-900-5737.
Want to see how it's coming along?
All set.
Wow, that was fast.
Even better than on TV.
Call American Standard today to start your shower remodel with $1,500 in savings, plus no interest and no payments for 12 months. 1-800-900-5737.
And here's another look at that flea flicker play by Washington State. Want to show you a couple things on the defensive side. Just a great job of when he goes back here. Avery Smith's eyes are in the backfield. He's looking right back here, and this allows Meredith just to sneak through, get over the top, and it's perfectly placed. Like I talked about, it's into the wind. Just make sure your guy catches the ball. Avery Smith was eyes in the backfield, too late to catch up and make a play. Huge explosive for Washington State, something they needed.
Yep. 2 explosive plays on offense in the first quarter plus for the Cougars, and they have flipped the field after what Jimmy Rogers talked about. There's Pugalasi with a run. And there's a guy who, Jimmy Rogers talked with us a lot about Pugalasi yesterday, how he has kind of changed the perception through a lot of hard work and effort.
Yeah, just power here, and he just simply gets the outside. Great job blocking up front, makes a guy miss. And listen, Nigel, you knew this better than anybody. Once you start running some things where you make those guys on the back end have to double think about whether they're coming up in run support, that allows you to get more opportunity for big plays in the rushing game.
And this now, in the 8th game Toledo has played, this is only the 13th time they've allowed their opponents in the red zone in 7+ games. Lopez has to get, can't take a sack. And does finally launch the ball out of bounds. That's the one thing there.
It was like you were in his ear.
Well,
can't take a sack here, Zeb. Can't take a sack here.
What did they tell us yesterday? I think it was Danny Freund said sometimes he likes to think he can be the Baker Mayfield imitation.
Well, he kind of has that ability.
Yeah.
He does. And when he does do some good things, there's some numbers that aren't going to speak to that. Their third downs have been atrocious. 111th in the country. And red zone percentage touchdown is only 63%. So they've been middle of the road there, and then it's just not good enough if you're an offensive coordinator and you want more.
All right, Pugalasi is the back, 3rd and 4. Quick hit, and there is the effort by Lechner to run through the tackle and get a Washington State 1st and goal.
There's something about being able to break tackles, and you need a tight end, H-back caliber type of player. And sometimes you just need that. You need to make somebody miss. You need to make somebody break a tackle, pick up a 1st down.
Pugalasi stays in. No, Eckhouse going to keep it. Eckhouse edging. Eckhouse is in. Touchdown, Washington State.
You want a little Baker, Ted? Here's a little Baker. We're going to shake and bake with the ball outside on the perimeter. Good job by him putting the ball up there and showing it. That hesitation just a little bit by Andre Fuller to go full gore right at the feet allowed him to get into the end zone. Great job on his part.
Well, how about that 89-yard drive by Washington State? Extra point added through by Jack Stevens. And Zeve Eckhouse, he's not, you don't look at him and think right away runner, but he can do this. He can hurt you with the legs. And he gets Washington State the 1st touchdown.
Mike in with the CW Studio Update presented by Ariat. 4th-ranked Alabama and South Carolina tied down 3. That's about to change. Lamar Sellers gets picked off. Deshaun Jones got himself a pick 6. Alabama up 7-3. We'll keep you updated as this one progresses.
Thank you, Mike. And we're back here in Pullman where the Cougars have taken a 7-0 lead on the Toledo Rockets in this non-conference game that is actually going to have a return game. The Cougars will go to Toledo in 2031, all part of the scramble this year. Washington State and Oregon State both had to do to get a schedule as independents together. Kick here with Rudolph back in the game for Toledo, and he will run it. And Rudolph is covered. How about that? Really nice kick cover for Washington State, and that tackle's made by Brody Miller. All right, the touchdown, Ryan.
Yeah, let's look back at it. This is the guy he's keying off of right there. Look at his eyes right to them. If he comes inside like he does, he pulls it. Now he's on the outside. Nigel, you know there's going to be a play off this here later in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job by all the perimeter offensive players sealing the outside shoulder of the defenders. Look for the next time they get a short yardage or red zone play for them to actually be able to dump it to number 21 over the top, who will slip the corner instead of blocking him.
All right, first down for Toledo. Quick throw here to Kenji Christian, who spins out of a tackle, and this will be a big play for Toledo. And right away out of the hole that they were put in by the good kick cover, 31 yards, much of it after the catch.
And another part of what Washington State has struggled with the last 2 weeks is their poor tackling late in the football game. It rears its ugly head once again. It's had a chance to get a guy down inside the sticks, and instead he gets to the outside. Big play for the Rockets.
All right, out to the 43 now for Toledo. Lights are on here in Pullman as Christian runs this one. Off the right side, gets about 4. Tucker Gleason, 65% on the year completion percentage, the highest number in his career. And a lot of it is the short throws there, but you have a brilliant receiver here in Junior Vandeross out of Tampa. And let me commend Junior Vandeross, because this is what you like to say. He has spent all 4 years of his career with one school, and he's about to get in the top 10 on the all-time receiving lists at Toledo. Back to Christian, pushed out by Parker McKenna.
Here's a look at that previous play. Just good eyes by Zekow, seeing they bring a late blitz, and it's just straight man-to-man coverage over the top. Vandeross gets the inside leverage on Tucker Large, and the ball's perfectly on his chest for a big pickup.
Well, Toledo starting to embark on what they hope is going to be a great answer to an 89-yard touchdown drive by Washington State. This drive for Toledo started on their 12. And they're at the Washington State 40. Connor Wallen's good job to pick up a blitzer there, but the throw affected by the pressure of Bryson Lamb.
Yeah, and somebody may have even kind of got a finger on it. This ball dies on a line. Yeah, it looks like the big mitt of Bryson Lamb knocks it down just enough on an out-breaking route down the field.
We should also mention another key player today missing for Washington State, Isaac Terrell. They call him Bobby. Their best defensive lineman so far this year, hurt last week in Virginia, not playing today. Third down. And Gleason's shot throw is incomplete. Running down the sideline, coverage by Kenny Worthy for Washington State.
He gets him and beats him at the line. Good pressure on Gleason.
There's Malachi Rice on the wrap up and takedown for Washington State. Got a lot of different guys playing here. So now Toledo lines up to punt on 4th and 4, and they will punt. Tony Freeman will let this go, and it sails into the end zone. So Toledo does push the ball out from deep in its own end, but the Washington State defense gets the stop, and the Cougars will get the ball back, up 7-0. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99, now with spicy 3-meat sauce. And by Jared Jewelers, shop their new Storied Diamond Desert Sands of Eternity. Well, they had a different kind of lottery here this morning in Pullman, and the winner of the lottery is Ross Uretsky, student football coach at Washington State. He brought out Alana Fugelberg, who's graduating with a degree in criminal justice, and you see he proposed to her, and she said yes. That's when you know he won the lottery. Congratulations to Alana and Ross this morning on this field here in Pullman. Meanwhile, it is Kirby Voorhees on the run for Washington State. This last drive, 89 yards. The Cougars had 2 explosive plays, a run by Eckhouse and a 40-yard pass to Meredith. Toledo, coming into the game, defensively had allowed the fewest explosive plays in the country. Just 22 in 7 games.
Yeah, that means you're good up front, you're good in the middle, you're good on the back end. Your eyes, you trust them, and they've been very good all day today.
And Eckhouse on the keeper gets a first down. You know, Ryan, one of the conversation points we had yesterday with the Coug staff was about the quarterback situation, the fact that Jackson Potter started the year. He played so well, coaches said, in spring and then into fall, but really after the North Texas game they thought it was time to make that move.
Well, just because they weren't rushing the football, and that was the biggest thing. If they couldn't rush the football, you needed a quarterback that was back there with the dual threat ability. And as you've seen today, having not been able to rush the football, Zevi's been the difference in the running game so far.
This is something right here that Washington State wants to try to utilize today. They thought that play, the quick throws, getting receivers out in space, was something they could use, and this one to Meredith is complete.
It's a great throw. It's an extension of the running game. Unfortunately, Noga he doesn't get his man and block him, and defensively Toledo's able to get the outside leverage and keep this to only a 3.5-yard gain.
So 2nd down, 6. Kirby Voorhees, the running back. And Voorhees picks his way up the middle, and there's the good effort by Voorhees for a Washington State first down. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, part of that Toledo's excellent secondary, make the hit.
Yeah, this is just a war of attrition, you know, and they just keep pounding it and pounding it. Good things will happen. Nigel.
Yeah, you know, the one thing, Toledo did not adjust. On that motion, Washington State actually went to an unbalanced formation where they had no receivers on one side of the ball. Look for them to come back to that, being that Toledo didn't recognize it.
All right, that's something to watch. That was Noga, the wide receiver. Here he is with a short motion at the bottom. First down, Cougars at their 45. Eckhouse looking for a shot. He has Noga out there, but there, and it's caught. It doesn't go to Noga, it goes to Meredith again, and it's to the 15 of Toledo.
It's not necessarily a bad read, Ted. You have both guys streaking with the shallow post, followed by a Meredith deep post over the top. He chose to go for the deeper one, and he put it perfectly on him, though, and makes another big explosive play.
Well, you could tell it crossed me up because Noga was running free. I thought that's where the ball was going.
It looked like it from up here, too, the way the ball was going, and Noga was wide open crossing the field. He just took the deeper guy in man coverage and put it on his body perfectly.
Well, the second 40-yard completion of the first half for Washington State. And another red zone appearance. And Eckhouse has room to run this. And he'll get down to the 10. Gain of 5.
It's a good job of both receivers running the post. As you can see, Noga is just wide open there, but he puts it perfectly to Meredith. Now, this is just double post, and when you get man-to-man coverage, you want to take the bigger shot. I don't know if he even looked at the fact that Noga was crossing the field and just was eyes on Meredith the whole way and put it perfectly in stride to him.
2nd and 5. Voorhees trying to bounce and does do a good job. He bounced off the hit and falls forward. McNeil-Warren had him down for maybe a 1-yard gain, but Voorhees using momentum to fall forward and puts that down. That's going to be 2 yards short.
A lot of these guys are that Brookings crew, you know, from South Dakota, followed their head coach, Jimmy Rogers, from South Dakota State, and some of these guys are really kind of starting to get in the mix again. Voorhees being one of them, his ability to take the punishment but dish it out as well.
Rarity under center, and they use the tush push.
That may have been the most evidence of a real tush push. I mean, his hands, can we watch it? His hands are perfectly placed, one cheek, the other cheek, and just steamrolls it forward. Watch this. Perfectly done. Lechner gets it right there. Hips, boom, driving it in for a first down.
Trey Lechner.
Well played, Trey.
And we said, we were talking yesterday with the coaches, and I always ask you, how often, has a Zevi Eckhouse ever taken a snap under center? And they said, really only on sneaks.
Yep. So, if you're self-scouting people out there, it's pretty evident when he's under center, he's most likely going to sneak it or run it.
So 1st and goal at the 5. Looking for a quick throw, not there. And that's a good job by Eckhouse then to get rid of it with the pressure of Malachi Davis. Eckhouse, I think the other thing the coaches were talking with us about, he's not fast. He's not that kind of a runner, but he has enough quickness, just enough ability to use those legs and damage you.
And as a quarterback, that's what you need. And on the play they just ran, and maybe we'll get a chance to look at it a little bit later, but they had a wide open wide receiver. They used the motion perfectly. They just weren't able to. He was not quick enough in that moment.
That's rolling, and again, that's going to be grounding. So that's an obvious grounding call. Kavion Sherman.
Grounding. Offense, number 4. Ball placed at the spot of the foul. Lost it down. 3rd down.
Yeah, so there's actually no harm in the penalty because the play had ended there anyway. So, but it's a 10-yard loss.
The loss is the fact that he just did not throw it over the corner route's head in the back of the end zone, leaving it with the 2nd and short. Instead, they lose all that yardage, and it's 3rd down, and now they back themselves up. This is one thing that Jimmy Rogers said, and I thought it was very poignant. He said, we just can't get out of the jams we actually put ourselves in. And I thought that was very, very apropos, because great teams, when they mess up pre-snap and things like that, they find a way to get it back. And they just have kicked themselves over and over when they've been down and not been able to get the big play.
All right, that pass to the back, and it is a leaping grab for a touchdown. Tony Freeman.
You get yourself in a jam, young man. Get yourself out of it. He does a perfect job here of stepping up in the pocket. Watch this. It just opens up. He looks like he's going to run, gets the guy to come forward, and then sees a one-on-one option. Back turned by the defensive back there, and he puts it perfectly on the back shoulder. He catches it and then turns it away from the defender, not allowing him to get his hand through it. A little archery with that arrow from Zevi Eckhouse.
2nd career touchdown catch for Tony Freeman.
Of a touchdown is under review.
All right, well, the ruling is under review, so that'll give us. They're going to give us. It'll give us a chance to look, and I see apparently it's the back line of the end zone. We'll have to see what hit first for Freeman.
Looks like his knee goes down first as he turns.
And control.
His knee goes down.
He's down inbounds. All right,
that's goes down. Ball's perfectly controlled. That's a touchdown.
That's a touchdown.
Yeah. The placement I don't think could have been any better from a quarterback standpoint, especially for a wide receiver. If you're running that kind of route, just a great job on his back shoulder.
All right, Michael Mothershed, your view.
Ted, he gets firm grip and control of the ball. He gets his right foot down.
Ruling in the previous play of the touchdown is upheld.
Yeah. All right. My faith in humanity is restored, Michael. Thank you. Thank you. I always say, when we do bring people down from Mars, and they're going to look at that and go, did you catch that ball? And they're all going to say yes.
They're all going to say yes, having never seen a catch before, but they're going to say yes. And then we're going to show them some other ones that people told us they aren't catches, and they're going to go, what are we doing here, people?
Thank you.
We are going back to Mars, because that's a catch on Mars.
Jack Stevens for the extra point. And so Washington State going against form here. Explosive plays and 2 first-half touchdowns as we go back to our CW studios and check in again with Mike Yan.
Oh, coming up, we got the Liberty Mutual Insurance halftime show. Only pay for what you need. Michael Bumpus will join me in studio. We'll get his thoughts on the first half, and it was a pretty epic comeback by Ole Miss against Oklahoma. We'll show it to you. It's coming up in just a couple minutes.
Well, yeah, family weekend here in Pullman, and it's a chance to celebrate. The first quarter was pretty much all defense. The Cougars have exploded literally on offense second.
Outside of a Zevi Eckhouse run, big run in the first quarter, they had -7 yards.
Yeah.
So that first quarter was completely in congruence to what the second quarter has looked like. Maybe, this team's been a three-quarter team. Maybe the three quarters for this Washington State team is the second, third, and fourth this week.
Well,
they finish and take down a big-time MAC team that's coming in with a great defense. That would be huge for this coaching staff, for this roster, heading into the back half of this season.
It's the same theme, Ryan. We were talking about the last 2 Saturdays here on the CW from Corvallis, right? That Oregon State team, can you finish? Right, going to be a run back again by Rudolph here for Toledo. So, final 4 minutes of the half here. Toledo's going to want to see if they can generate some offense. We remind you this week on NXT, it's all about the next big thing. The man they call All Ego, Ethan Page. He's bringing the heat on an all-new NXT this Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, right here on the CW.
I took my son down last year at the end of the year. Ethan was his guy. He had never seen anything at all watch, and he got beat. Yeah. And the emotionality my son had over somebody who has no idea who he was, it's pretty great. We look forward to doing that again with our guy Vic Joseph down there in Orlando.
That's right, with Vic. We had a chance to meet Vic last year. Tucker Gleason to throw now for Toledo. All the way across the field for a short gain to tight end Jacob Peterson. And these last 4 minutes of the first half going to loom a little bigger for Toledo. Washington State will get the ball first in the third quarter.
Yeah, it's a big drive. It's kind of a big reason why I was surprised they punted on that last possession.
Now Vandersall gets the shot. He's going to be out probably just short of the line to gain. Nigel?
Ted, the one thing that's really impressive about this Washington State defense is I know Ryan's brought up, there's been some missed tackles, but yeah, they're on scholarship too. But you don't see the miscommunications. You don't see busted coverages. You see, every time a ball's thrown, somebody's there. This is a defense that doesn't beat itself. It's really impressive to watch.
That's a great measuring stick, isn't it? It really is. 3rd and 2. And this would be a huge get for the Cougars if they could force a punt after this play.
Timeout. Toledo.
Toledo's going to talk about
30-second timeout.
To Nigel's point, and we've heard this from other coaches, when they watch the film, they haven't seen a Washington State team on defense rally to the football like this team does. And that is a great example of great defenses. Defenses that know what they're doing, they're together, they go after the football, and they're all around it when the tackle's made.
This is that a lot of them know each other from South Dakota State, where Jimmy Rogers coached, where the staff came. And guess what? At 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, Brookings, South Dakota is going to be in lockdown because South Dakota State is hosting North Dakota State. So I imagine it's a national TV game. So I imagine a lot of the players and staff of the Cougs are going to get home after this watching it.
Yeah, and those two teams are the last 5 national champions at the FCS level. So it's an important game. And talking to Jimmy Rogers before the game.
And there's a quick hit to Vandersall for a first down. Colby Humphrey on the tackle for Washington State. These are the notables out of the huge group that came from South Dakota State. 15 total players.
What a great opportunity for them to play some big-time college football and do it at a high level.
And Gleason does a good job there, just getting rid of it. 0 play, so he lives to get to second down.
Wonderful job of getting pressure on Tucker Gleason. He's just got to fire it away. Buda Peachtree was Paletti, sorry.
Yeah.
Buda Paletti gets the pressure there and kind of throws it to a nondescript place in the back end where somebody was exactly where they were supposed to be.
That's the guy playing in Bobby Terrell's spot. run for a short gain is going to get third down and going to get this. Well, no, it looks like Jimmy Rogers just jumped out to take a timeout.
Timeout. Washington State.
Yeah.
That's the second and a half. This is your 30-second timeout.
He thinks they're explosive offensively. So all of a sudden he thinks they're explosive. So they're going to use that timeout and see if they can get the ball back.
He wants an extra possession, yeah. So he's going to love the 2-minute timeout.
2 for 1.
Right. And have a shot if his defense can stop here on 3rd and 8. Which
they've been able to. And this goes back to the last series that Toledo had, Ted. They had a chance. You called it. It was 4th and 4. It was a little outside the opportunity for a field goal, but they chose to punt it. And instead of pinning them inside the 10 or something, he kicks it into the end zone, comes back out as a touchback, and then Washington State goes on another scoring drive to take a 14-0 lead.
Once again, Washington State. Look at the top hash. There's Tucker Large, number 1 for Washington State, lining up against Junior Vanderross of Toledo. Important play. And Gleason finally gets rid of the ball up the field. Oh, and it is not held. Ryder Treadway. And there's a holding flag against Toledo, which will be declined. And it's going to force a Toledo punt.
Holding offense, number 66. Penalties declined. 4th down.
Almost a hero play there by Tucker Gleason.
No, you're exactly right. He waits and holds on to that ball to the very last second and then gives him a very, very catchable football in front of the safety in the corner. He just flat out drops it. Jamori Colson's there to knock it away, but great job by Gleason of giving him a chance there on 3rd down.
Freshman on the road, not able to hold it, so this will be the 5th Toledo punt of the half. And the Cougs are going to get the ball with more than enough time. 2 team timeouts plus the 2-minute. Freeman with a minor muff of the punt, falls on it. Cougs will have a long way to go, but enough time after another good punt there. 49 yards for Toledo.
Yeah, they'll have the 2-minute timeout, of course, and then 1 timeout to kind of have the whole playbook at their disposal.
Yeah, sorry, 1 of their own and the 2-minute. And look at this. On a day it's just over 50 degrees, but we have about a 15-mile-an-hour wind, so it's pretty got a little fall cold to it. The sun's fighting. Look at that.
It's never bad weather here on the Palouse to play football, people. I don't care what anybody has ever said. It is a lot of fun to be in crimson and gray, tossing the pigskin around.
That's been the great part with the CW both last year and this year, being here quite a bit. Experiencing multiple times the pride of Cougar alums. The pride. All right, Leo Pulalasi is the running back alongside Eckhouse. And give it to him a 1st down run. And Pulalasi does a nice job. And again, boy, he's living up to exactly what Jimmy Rogers told us yesterday. All right, stay tuned for the final 2 minutes of the half, presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. We're in the final 2 minutes of the half. It's time for the 2-minute drill presented by the Active Cash Credit Card from Wells Fargo. Be a 2%er. Earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases. Terms apply. Is that a beautiful look at fall in the Palouse? Look at that color kaleidoscope. The CW Sports Weekend will continue. NASCAR Xfinity Playoffs race to Martinsville for a spot in the championship. And then the second night of the PBR Team Championships from Las Vegas. Tomorrow, the PBR Team Series will crown a champion. CW Sports Weekend is brought to you by Ariat, and it continues next, only on the CW. All right, so here we go now with the Cougars on a 2nd down. And again, going to run Pulalasi and get a 1st. Just enough. And how about the role Leo Pulalasi, who was not on the field very much at the beginning of the year, and he's starting to play a much more prominent role.
Just because of his physicality. That's the huge part of it. They need that in this running game to sustain it.
And again, a rarity. He's a guy who was here last year. He's going to at least do the wise thing. That's a loss on the play, but he gets out of bounds.
Probably the wise thing was to let it sail through his hands out of bounds.
You're right. That's right. On second thought, Leaf is right.
As a quarterback, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
I know.
I'm like, that's negative passing yards for me, pal. Let's go.
Loss of 3 on the play. Cougs
Here's that empty look again where you have the middle of the field open. Wide open over in the middle there.
Van Eckhouse given time, drifting, buying more time, still buying time. Now going to run it. Flag comes down. Eckhouse is not down yet, and he's finally out close to the 45, and we'll see where that flag, which way is it aimed? Probably a hold, and which team is it on?
I think it's going to be on Toledo. It
on the
like
defense,
a defensive back holding a wide receiver running across the field.
It's an 18-yard run for Eckhouse.
Holding. Defense. Number 3. 10-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the run. Results in a first down.
And it does. The play stands up. Eshawn Carter, defensive lineman for Toledo, comes off the field, holding his left shoulder. There's the hold against Meredith.
There could have been a couple calls in a couple different places there. When you're running around that long, it's just defensive backs can't be expected to stay in man coverage that long when that quarterback is back there for almost 10 seconds running around.
Well, what a change. The run plus the penalty, and it's in Toledo territory. Screen is incomplete.
I like the play call. Just not a very efficient setup to how they ran it. It almost looked like he was running more of a flat route than actually getting behind his offensive lineman for a screen.
There's Connor Pabst, number 21, who's been out for a few weeks with an injury. He's a freshman from Wichita, Kansas, back today. We asked yesterday, who's your best blocking wide receiver? And they said, Pabst, a freshman. Don't hear that answer very often. Oh, that throw missing. Intended for Lechner. And it'll be third down.
You know, situationally, we had minute 20 to go. You know, you have a double out route essentially with Lechner over the top, and then you have Maxwell Woods in the flats, and he just, you know, he kind of bypasses him and doesn't see him open there. Would probably been a much easier completion, would have caught it, got out of bounds, been a much more manageable third down. Now they're in a sticky position. You know, once again,
not near field goal range yet, so
circled up right there in the middle of the field. Last time they used a spy that came back over the top, but they go back to the
Eckhouse to run it. Oh, and a big time tackle. If that tackle doesn't happen from Braden Alls, Eckhouse is going to get a first down.
I mean, this is exactly what I was talking about. They went empty earlier. The last time they had a spy for Zevian, they just run straight quarterback draw, and if he does not trip him up there, he may bang his head on the goalpost.
Please set the game clock to 1:06. Thank you.
So Toledo took a timeout there because now it's Jimmy Rogers' decision coming on 4th down and 3 as we look at our Royal Caribbean game summary.
Let's take a look at today's Royal Caribbean game summary, by the way, and it's all been Zevi Eckhouse there with his legs early on to get them going on that drive, and then right in the second quarter, the flea flicker, he able to put it on the money to Meredith. That gets him inside the 25-yard line. That sets up the quarterback run the outside. Show him the ball a little bit, man, and get into the end zone. Another huge play down the field to Meredith once again. This time perfectly thrown in front of the defender. And then the big touchdown as he steps up and puts it over the top to the back shoulder. A little Robin Hood action here, and then he's going to sprinkle some pixie dust on top of it.
All right, Jimmy Rogers sends his offense back out. 4th and 3.
I like the decision. It's a great job by Candle, though, to take that timeout, knowing if they're able to get a stop, they may get a chance to get some points before half with 1:06 to go.
Woods goes out in motion. The defense is offside. This is a free play. And it will be an incomplete pass, but that's going to be a first down for Washington State on the 4th pre-snap penalty.
Offside. Defense. Number 9. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Four pre-snap penalties, Toledo first half. Is this the hard count?
Well, what I think it is, and I'm pretty sure they were told in the huddle that we're not running a play, okay? If they do jump off sides, then we're just going all go. And that's exactly what they do, and I always love doing that because you guys weren't moving for any reason. There's no reason. There's no play call.
The clock
You're just
never
going.
ran on the previous play. Please set the game clock to 59 seconds. 59 seconds. Thank you.
And so now, clock being reset. 35-yard line of Toledo. And the Cougs are close to field goal range, but they have more than enough time to think about 6 points.
I mean, I'm just running.
Out of empty, taking the deep shot down the field for Pabst. And he caught it on the multiple juggle. First touchdown for Carter Pabst.
I mean, again, you have absolutely everything in the middle of the field, and he just says, I'm going to throw it up and say my freshman is going to out-duel your senior and Andre Fuller, and that's exactly what happens. Way to extend his hands, ball's tipped back up, and he just keeps great concentration, enough so All's not fast enough to get over there to try to be a guy to knock it away, and a huge touchdown for the Cougars here before the end of the half.
Well, I did chuckle yesterday because we heard a couple things about this young man that we haven't seen before. And what did Danny Freund, the offensive coordinator, said? Jimmy Rogers, who's a defensive guy, so he's not necessarily inclined to think too much of offensive guys like receivers, but he said Jimmy Rogers likes this kid.
He loves him. He had him going to South Dakota State. He had him going to South Dakota State and convinced him, of course, easily to come and be a Coug, and now gets a huge opportunity after an injury-plagued first part of the season. And I mean, Zebi didn't look anywhere else but to him on that play.
Nigel?
You know, Ted and Ryan, in pregame, I was sitting with Alex Brink, obviously big-time quarterback here at Washington State, and some of the staff. And the one thing they talked about was because this Toledo defense is so good at stop and run, they had to get shots over the top. And they can't have imagined being this successful in the first half doing just that.
It's 100% right. That's 3 explosive pass plays in the first half for Washington State. And again, against a team that coming into today had allowed the fewest explosive plays in the country. And that's going to trickle out of bounds. Good job there. So Toledo will have enough time. They're going to get the ball out at the 40.
All right, here's a good opportunity. Again, I'm talking about that middle of the field is wide open, so anytime he wants to, he can take off with the ball. But watch as a snap, you'll see this safety go over the top here, run away, and that allows the one-on-one opportunity down the field. That safety then has to turn his hips and try to get back all the way across. That's why he's late getting to the football and not able to break up that one-on-one play.
Yeah. That's really something, given that the Toledo secondary, all of them experienced. They've all had 20-plus starts in their careers, a strength of the team. And my correction, the ball at the 35 after the kick goes out of bounds. But enough time here for Toledo, and Gleason's going to push that first ball near midfield to Rudolph. Toledo has a timeout. And now this possession has more urgency as we get a stoppage here. Whistle from the referee.
The clock never stopped after the first down. Please set the game clock to 45 seconds. They'll start on my ready for play. Thank you.
That's a big deal. There's a little home cooking there, sounds like.
Or at least an attempt at it.
But the MAC officials,
crew,
but the MAC officials.
Crew, yeah. And Gleason over the middle, and now Toledo could think about at least field goal territory. Connor Wallenczak on the catch.
Huge tackle, too, to keep them from getting a first down, because now Toledo's forced to use their final timeout.
Timeout. Toledo. That's the third and final of the half. It's your 30-second timeout. Please set the game clock to 35 seconds.
All right, Jimmy Rogers looking on with 35 seconds. Nigel?
You know, Ryan and I were hanging out in pregame, and, you know, he graced me with his presence. We watched the Toledo kickers from this side of the of the 50, hitting from about 55 yards. So they're getting really close to being able to attempt a field goal right before the half.
How much wind are you feeling down there, Nigel?
A lot more than you are up there in the box, all nice and cushy with your snacks and your coffee. Jimmy was questioning my manhood a little bit. He could notice. I was teeth chattering down here.
If you want to bring me a hot chocolate at halftime, Nigel, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
You'll get nothing from me, Ryan. Nothing.
2nd and 2. And Gleason looking big over the middle, misfired for Treadway, who took a pretty good stick there from Cale Reeder. So 3rd and 2, 30 seconds. Treadway, stung by that hit, has to come out.
You know, the thing that Nigel talked about, these guys are in the right spot at all times, and they're playing a ton of man coverage, which is a lot. This is a great hit by Cale Reeder. Stays low, gets underneath the shoulder pads, announces his presence.
Gleason breaks away. That's the strength, and there he finds it. So that's the 245 pounds. And that puts Toledo well into field goal range on the catch by Jacob Peterson. 1st down stoppage. Everybody running up to the ball. Official trying to set it down. And there's the spike.
You know, Nigel, that may be the first time that I saw them go away from a little man coverage, and they got out-dueled in the zone there a little bit, or they lost a man. Did you see anything that...
Yeah, and Ryan, we all spoke too soon. Just when you mentioned the fact that there were no miscommunications, no defensive blowups, they did just that. 3 guys chased one, left the tight end right open over the middle. Gleason found him for a big gain.
Or jinxes, I get it.
So 18 seconds, again, no timeouts for Toledo.
Now remember, if they catch the ball and don't get a 1st down or get out of bounds, I suspect this kicking team has to run onto the field and kick that field goal.
Whoa, how about that strike by Toledo? And Junior Vanderross for the touchdown. You talk about urgency and a payoff for Toledo with just 13 seconds left in the half.
Now that's the matchup that we heard about. That was going to be one-on-one, and he just beats him is what happens. The speed from the 6th-year senior, just tremendous job. And what a great throw by Tucker Gleason to give him a chance.
Junior Vanderross, 8th touchdown catch this year, 17th in his career. That reception also puts him now 10th on the all-time Toledo list in receptions. He's about to get to the top 10 in yardage as well. Right there on the hash.
Now they're just going to kick. They're going to kick down right here, and what that does is it allows him to just kind of get over the top, and as he does, he has all that space to get to the end zone.
Junior Vanderross caught 85 last year. He was 1st team All-MAC, and he's now 50 catches this year. You assume he's on a track to repeat that All-MAC honor.
Hey, Nigel, I'm a little confused there. Did it look like one safety was kind of rolling to cover 2, and then the other safety looked like he may have been coming down a little bit? Because there was no backside safety there for any protection on that post.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you, Ryan, because you're right. They rotated away, but it was almost as if the defender that was defending the slot was assuming he was going to get some help. So I'm not sure, again, if there was confusion there or they were rolling coverage and one guy just busted. But as soon as the release happened, we all knew down here, you could hear guys on the sideline, he's open, and Gleason found him on a strike.
Yep.
For as good as the defense has been the entire 1st half, to Nigel's points, 2 bad plays on those last 2 that has cost them 7 points before halftime.
That was a 6-play, 65-yard drive for Toledo in 38 seconds. And again, remember how it started. Kickoff out of bounds gave Toledo a 35-yard line drive start. So a little hope for Jason Candle's team. Cougs know they're going to get the ball to start the 2nd half. And one in the 2nd quarter. 252 yards in the 2nd quarter.
I mean, it's been a tremendous turnaround. Simply has been. It really stemmed from that quarterback draw and empty that got them a little momentum before that first quarter ended, and then the big play, the big explosive play gave them some confidence. Even though they let up a touchdown there in that last drive, I guarantee you right now Jimmy Rogers heading into the locker room with a 21-7 lead is a happy camper.
There is the knee that will put an end to the half. Now for Jimmy Rogers, that offense that really performed well, both Ole Miss and Virginia for 3 quarters each, has a quarter to remember in the second. Toledo does get a flicker of life with that last-minute drive, and head coach Jason Candle now with Nigel.
Well, Coach, fantastic drive just to finish the first half. What adjustments do you need to make to continue that momentum going into the second?
Well, we got a self-inflicting in critical situations. We then dropped the ball on 3rd and 1 that would have been for a big hit. Jumped off sides on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 4th and 3. Probably not even going to call a play there. They're trying to just draw you off sides. Like, we got to stop making small mental errors in a game that like, made a couple plays. I mean, we got to make some of our own too. Okay, got to coach better, got to play better.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Well, that's spot on from Coach Candle there. A couple of major misses by Toledo. Washington State takes advantage with a 21-7 halftime lead. After the break, Michael Bumpus will join you for the halftime show presented by Liberty Mutual.
Hey everyone, we're the Skazza Cougs, watching the CW Live.
From the Cougar Den at Sean O'Donnell's, in the beautiful Skagit Valley.
Beat the Rockets! Go Cougs!
The Skagit Valley Alumni Chapter watching their Cougs at Sean O'Donnell's Irish Pub. I was looking there for the Guinness. Come on, make Arthur proud. Have a Guinness.
That's very, very, very Irish.
Skagit, have you been to Skagit Valley?
I'm assuming I have. Okay. I think I've been to every inch and corner of the state of Washington.
All right, well, look, we set this game up by talking about the obvious match. Toledo comes in with an awfully impressive defense. Can the Cougar offense make something happen, get some traction? Did they ever? 5 explosive plays in the first half.
Unbelievable on how they were able to do it after the first quarter in which they had. They got it with Zebi Eckhouse with a couple runs and then some explosive pass plays down the field. The flea flicker was amazing. He puts it right onto the money to wide open Meredith down the field for 40 yards. Followed up by another big explosive play. Play action, 2 guys wide open here. He takes the more difficult of the foes, but still another 40-yard explosive play for a touchdown. And then the huge one after the defense swapped to the other side. A 35-yard touchdown pass to the freshman, Carter Pabst. What a great second quarter, 250-plus yards of total offense for Washington State. But Toledo found a way to scratch back with a touchdown right before the half to make this thing a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. Both teams scored in the final 2 minutes, but that Toledo one was, we'll see. We'll see what kind of impact it has, but boy, what a difference for them as they will kick off. Toledo will to start the second half, but knowing they had to score, they're 2 touchdowns down. Kick is fair, caught in proper manner, so the ball will come out to the fair catch line. We mentioned also, Ryan, even though look, you're going against top 20 teams the last 2 weeks, the Cougars got some ground game going.
Well, I think that there's something to sticking with your plan too. Sometimes it's just not going to go the right way, but you kept doing it. 32 rushes a game, 4.5 yards per carry. And then the 142-plus yards a game allows you to have that kind of time of possession. Doesn't put a ton of pressure on your defense to be out there all game. Allows them to get some breath on the sideline and come back in refreshed and make some stops for you. And that's what Jimmy Rogers wants to do. That's the type of offense you're going to see here at Washington State. It's not the same that what you've seen over the last 20 years, but it's a very winnable product.
Kirby Voorhees gets a carry to start the second half. Stop at 2 with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren leading the play for Toledo.
He was our impact player. Of course, he's going to be down in the run game as well as in the back end. He hasn't done a great job on the back end so far today with those big explosive plays, but he's been really good in the running game. It's been really interesting. I'll be interested to see what Toledo does defensively when they go to empty again, because that has been an offensive side of the football.
4 down for Toledo, widespread. Eckhouse has to get rid of it and launches one that's intercepted. Well, there's the first big play of the half. Toledo makes it. It's Brandon Alls with his 3rd interception this year and 7th career.
You mentioned Baker Mayfield a little bit earlier. He's trying to do the same thing. Doesn't have any ability to put anything on this throw, and it's just left up into the air. I thought he might have got away with it, but just a tremendous job by Brandon Alls to get over and make the fingertip catch for the interception to start the second half, the exact opposite way that Jimmy Rogers wanted this thing to go.
Martez Pointer, the veteran of the D-line, was the pressure for Toledo, so Toledo starts in Washington State territory, and the Cougar defense does a nice job there against Kenji Christian. Just to reset, if you've joined us throughout, Toledo made this trip across without their top runner, Chip Trainum. 2nd straight week he's out.
Going to the field as the forward progress was stopped.
Here's a look at their offense this year. They've been dominant, 35 points a game, 200 rushing yards a game. That was one that stuck out to me, that I knew it was going to be a huge deal for Washington State to stop the run, or it was going to be a long day. They held them to 22 yards so far on the ground. It's just been great. Not having Chip Trainum, of course, is a big deal, but everybody else has contributed this year running the ball.
And the Cougars playing today without Isaac Terrell. Bobby Terrell, their top D lineman. There's a shot. Ooh, and just missed. And Vander Ross again running against the cover of Tucker Large. And Toledo almost hit that.
Yeah, Tucker Gleason hasn't been off target much today. This one he's going to want back. He didn't need to probably step up so far into the pocket. He may have been able to have a little more room to follow through. A little more air to his speedster. That could have been 6.
Yes, thinking the same thing. So it's 3rd and 11 for Toledo. Resetting, 1 wide up top, 3 wide to the bottom. Cougars really spread the D lineman wide. Play clock running out. And they ran out. And I don't know, did Jason Candle get a timeout? Yes, he did.
Prior to the delay of game, Toledo, 5th, home to get timeout.
So Toledo has to burn a second half timeout. You hate doing that when you're trailing in the game. Jimmy Rogers learned that lesson in a tough way last week in Virginia. We'll be back. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99, now with spicy 3-meat sauce. And by Ace, the helpful place. Recent NFL players, including Alexander, drafted this past year out of Toledo. Kareem Hunt, one of the most remarkable college achievements, is 4 years at Toledo, 850 some odd carries. Did not lose a fumble, not one in 4 years. Here's Gleason. Well, it's what Eckhouse has done well in the first half for the Cougars, and Gleason does it. And it's going to be just short. The mark is going to be just short because of where he began the slide. So it is 4th down for Toledo.
They're going to no huddle, making it quick.
Need about a half yard.
He's going to sneak it from under center.
Yeah, easy.
But he got stood up.
Oh, he didn't. Now he spins, though, and there's, again, the size of Gleason. He might have made it on the spin. You called it, Ryan. He saw nobody over the center. Tried to take advantage.
I mean, you're that size to get a half a yard, but what happens is he looks like he almost stumbles and slips.
Wow. Well, that ball's where that ball was marked. And they're saying 1st down. No measurement.
It's always hard to do. But here comes a review.
Ruling the previous play. It's under review.
All right, I'm intrigued. They did not bring the yard markers out, to the chain out to measure. So apparently they're going to see if they can. Well, I'm not sure. So Michael Mother's here to help us. What would this be about?
Well, I think they want to take a look at it. To me, I think he makes it on his second effort. And I think the ruling on the field of a first down will be upheld. But I think that's what they're taking a look at, is the placement of the ball.
You don't think, Michael, at any point that his forward progress was stopped twice there before he just, I mean,
he's still kind of moving. He's still moving. And if his forward progress was stopped, if they rule that on the field, then the referee would have made that announcement.
Yeah. I think they might be looking at, too, on that slip. When he slips out the gate, it almost looks like his knee goes down. They may be just taking a second look that knee doesn't actually touch the turf. He gets his hand down to hold himself up to make sure that he didn't go down. I mean, it almost looks like he does.
Yeah. The ruling of the field is upheld. It'll be first down, Toledo.
That's. Yeah. So that's exactly it. What both Michael and Ryan were talking about is Gleason's foot down, the back foot and the back knee. No.
What about the? Yeah. Is a shin? Michael, is a shin down? Yes,
no,
right?
It doesn't look like it. No, it doesn't look like the shin touches.
Yeah.
But if a shin does hit the ground, the ball carrier is considered down.
Right. So, a great effort by Gleason to get a first down, and then backed up by a strong run from Christian. Colby Humphrey drops him, but not before an excellent first down gain. And Toledo in business to really make this game a much different one early in the second half.
Yeah, luckily for Toledo, they had a 245-pound quarterback there on that final play. I'd probably argue 200 of those 245 pounds are in his lower half, and that got him forward for enough.
Short second down. Run it again. Cougars bottle it up. Christian is going to be down at the 25. That's going to be a loss and leave them short third. Parker McKenna. Again, a rarity. A Cougar who's back. Not a starter last year, but did play on defense. Cougars have no starters back from last year on defense.
I wanted to show you this. This is what Coach talked about. Coach Candle told us, said this team does a tremendous job defensively. Watch at the end of this play how all 11 players for Washington State are around the football in this tackle. I mean, they run to the ball exceptionally. All 11 guys are within, I don't know, 3-4 yards of the football. And that is what we've been seeing from an alumni base, from people around this defense, is this defense is playing hard regardless of situation, and being around the football is a big part of that.
Stephen Gales, offensive lineman from Alliance, Ohio, down for Toledo. So while he's attended to, we'll step away, and Pullman with Toledo threatening to pull within a touchdown.
The fastest growing cable network in all of television is News Nation. News Nation respects all Americans, and it's news for all Americans. To find News Nation on your screen, go to newsnationnow.com.
Love that. There we go, students of higher education.
You know, body fat versus wind resistance. You know, it's a whole physics thing.
All right, short third down for Toledo. Looking for, it came underneath. And it's going to be, I believe, a line to gain first down. It will be on the pass to Trayvon Rudolph. They sent Vander Ross again on that little post run against Large.
Didn't really fool anybody, but it allowed then Rudolph, because of the great protection of keeping everybody in the block, to outflank his defender and get to the line to gain.
Toledo that scored in the final seconds of the first half, now trying to take advantage of an interception and double it up in the early part of the third quarter and put some drama back in this game. Connor Wallensack is the runner. He is inside the 20. Tucker Large leading the defensive surge for Washington State.
I mean, I don't know if there's a better name for a guy in terms of the game plan defensively than Tucker Large. I mean, he's got to be resilient enough to be out there and guard their best wide receiver, then also still be good enough in the run game to fit his gaps and get to the place where he needs to be to make those tackles.
One of the 6 captains for the Cougars this year.
Here you go. There's that matchup we were talking about right at the top of your screen.
Extra rush coming, and they get to Gleason. The loose ball, though, covered by Cole Rett of Toledo. Darian Dalton, the sack for Washington State, and the forced fumble.
Nigel, what do you got here? Janikowski gets to him.
Yeah, and just like you had talked about, Ryan, that matchup was the one that he was looking for against Tucker Large, and Tucker Large did a great job being patient in the slot. The slot had nowhere to release, bought enough time for the pressure to hit.
That first sack this year for Jack Janikowski. And more pressure. And Gleason's throw over the middle incomplete. So now it's the Cougar defense. Jesse Bobbitt, the defensive coordinator. Again, part of Jimmy Rogers' staff at South Dakota State, disrupting that Toledo drive with pressure.
Here we go. We got Janikowski right here going right at the quarterback. But the matchup, what we talked about, was such a huge factor in all this. Great job of coming off the edge and just getting in his face.
So Emilio Duran will punt. And that sack by Janikowski, huge because it took the field goal out of play. Freeman lets this hit, and it just scoots into the end zone for the touchback. And so, man, look at this. Your fan club is everywhere, Ryan.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, it's been like an epidemic. It just kind of kept building. It started with 3 and 4, and now maybe this is the rally. This is the rally that the Coug fans have been looking for.
You know what's going to worry me? The next time we shoot, I think Nigel Burton's going to be up there.
Nigel, I will pay you $1,000 if you are up there waving that shirt around.
I'm gonna be honest. You have a better chance of winning gold in women's gymnastics than getting me to take my shirt off up there.
Oh no!
All right, Angel Johnson gets a carry, nowhere to go there. Toledo smothers the run play for a loss. You know what the Cougars now are going to try to do is relight the flame, that little spark of offense they had in the second quarter.
Well, you know, if you want to make it about this, that each team has had success going this way. Or Toledo's had the most success going this way. Washington State's had no success going with the wind so far in this football game.
2 tight ends for the Cougars. Metcalf swings it out to Pabst. A nice motion play. And a good. That's just well designed. And Pabst has a first down for Washington State. Tackled by Andre Fuller.
Yeah, and again, once again, using the read zone, using the run game to set up the pass. Everybody collapses on the running back, and you get that slip out to the flat. Really difficult, especially versus man. Absolutely difficult play to defend. Great job by the Cougs.
Yeah, a trailing guy in man coverage, having to cover him all the way across the field. If he gets one bit of leverage on the flat there, perfectly executed.
Direct hit. Kavion Sherman just unblocked, plowing right to Angel Johnson.
This is the tackle, boys. All right. Kavion Sherman meets him right in the hole. Look at that. Face up into his chest and just drives through to the ground. That's a teaching tape right there.
Kavion Sherman and Angel Johnson feeling the hit. Loss on the play. Looking for Lechner on the swing. It's covered. And Eckhouse comes back, throwing back a little bit across his body, intended for Jeremiah Noga. Incomplete with McNeil Warren on the cover.
Yeah, this is...
We got to say this. We talked about this at the outset, Ryan. Can Washington State run the ball against the Toledo defense? The answer by the running backs is no.
Right.
It's been the quarterback runs that have worked.
And that's been the answer for Washington State. I would go back to empty here, simply, and see if they're getting made an adjustment during halftime.
Kirby Voorhees alongside Zemi Eckhouse on 3rd and long. Lechner motions out. Eckhouse on the move. Floats one down the sideline, and Lechner trying to make the catch. Broken up. Defended there by Chris Apollonia. And again, that was part of the Washington State plan today, was to see if they could isolate people against the linebackers.
I thought this was a very good job for a linebacker in coverage to get his head turned around in phase and then get his hand out there. I thought this was great coverage, knocks the ball away, and gives their offense a chance to get the ball back.
So it'll be the 3rd punt for Ryan Harris. Fair catch signaled. So Toledo will take over just outside its own 26.5 in the 3rd. And the Cougars still with the halftime lead. Well, coming up next, the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs roaring to Martinsville Speedway. Only 4 drivers will punch their ticket to the championship final. It all comes down to a showdown under the lights. Don't miss the race to the championship. The NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs coming up next, only on the CW. All right, we're going to have Toledo starting here, Nigel.
Yeah, somebody's dad found their way into the student section. Ryan, you wanted me up there. I got a substitute, so there you go.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Where the young man pulled his hat off and he had a receding hair. It was a bad look. It was not good.
All right, 1st down and a handoff, and there's a good run out across the 30. Near the 31 by Kenji Christian.
Listen, Nigel, he's just getting ready, man. 2 football games. You got some NASCAR and then some bull riding, man. This guy is ready. He's got a silver bolt in his hand. We're going to go.
2nd and short, and the throw there to Rudolph, who stays in bounds and is finally dropped at the 40. Colby Humphrey, the main tackler.
Now, listen, for as good as Washington State's defense has been, everything takes a toll. When you're playing man coverage and you're running back and forth throughout this whole game, like, you start to get tired. The depth isn't huge for Washington State. It's a big risk to take against explosive players.
Gleason's track record this year has been a lot of rhythm, short, quick passes.
Matchup again we're talking about.
Gleason comes back into the field. Had not yet reached the line of scrimmage and finds Jacob Peterson. And that's going to be out just shy of midfield. But Toledo getting to start this drive with a couple of good 1st down plays. Leaves them 2nd and 2. Vanderross. It's back to the middle. He should be right at the 50 for a 1st down. Humphrey again amongst the tacklers.
Both officials are marking him down just a little short.
Just short, yeah.
It almost looked like he kind of came back after gaining it, like you said.
He's about 6 inches shy of the 50-yard line. And Gleason going to emerge, and he'll run for it. And goes down head first, and he'll get the full run there at the 40-yard line. Parker McKenna for the Cougars. Toledo up the tempo, and they have a 1st down.
Again, there's no one in the middle of the field on empty now for either team. And once Tucker Gleason gets outside at all, he has all that open space then to use that size to pick up the 1st down.
So that is a Washington State timeout. No, I'm guessing as you see Gleason's career totals. Again, he did play a little bit at Georgia Tech. He was there He's in that last group. He's the last class of COVID players who started in 2020, which does not count. And he has been a terrific two-year starter at Toledo. But I'm wondering if the rhythm and the tempo that Toledo was ramping up here on offense is why Washington State said, let's stop for a second.
No, it exactly is what I was talking about in terms of their depth and needing a bit of a blow after playing such man-to-man coverage and rushing the quarterback.
First down run, Kenji Christian in there. He was about to bounce and see if he could get outside. And flying in was Caleb Franzel to make sure that didn't happen. You know, Franzel, another captain who had a huge game, 11 tackles at Virginia last week. The 2nd and 9. Oh, and another ball not held. That's about I think three of those today that have hurt the Toledo offense. Eric Holly doesn't hold this.
This is going to be a great view of it. His head just starts to move a subtle bit right before he brings it into his chest and bobbles it, isn't able to hold on to it, and that's a big play because it sets them much further back on 3rd down than they want to be.
Again, hash mark to the top. That's the matchup. Vander Ross against Tucker Large. Quick slant. There it is. Vander Ross, and he is hit down right at, well, looks like the mark again is going to be a football short of the 30-yard line. Actually, that's a half a yard short. So it's 4th down.
It ain't rocket science. You got a 6'3", 245-pound quarterback.
Who's pushing him?
Let's roll.
Yep.
But why not line up 6 yards behind? But why not line up 6 yards behind what you...
Anthony Boswell, the center. Look at this. Shotgun, though. Interesting. And there is the sliding catch. And once again, it's the man. Junior Vander Ross. His 8th catch.
The only way that this ball is complete is if he has the time. He sat back there, made a souffle, and then threw a perfect pass. They're going to take a look and see if this was a catch or not.
One going to complete catch is under review.
Replay official Keith Zerbel, also from the MAC, and he came in at halftime to talk about these kind of plays, which is I think what happens here. He said, I want to make sure that there isn't a series that comes in too late that I haven't seen.
It's not a great throw. It's behind him. It goes into his body and on his forearm, and it looks like that ball moves slightly as it hits the ground, and that's most likely going to be an incomplete pass and turnover on downs.
Okay, Michael, your view.
You know, I agree with you, Ted. It looks like as we get a better look at that ball slips, he loses possession, and that this is an incomplete pass.
Okay, well, we'll see if you and Ryan are seeing this. And again, replay officials today, all of this part of the contract for these games. The officials are all from the Mid-American Conference.
I mean, the biggest thing about this is going to be the fact that it was not a accurate throw. He puts it in a place where his receiver has to slide and then begin to make the catch. And as you can see, that ball slipped through and just not enough control once it hits the ground.
After review, the ball hit the ground prior to the receiver completing the catch. With an incomplete pass, the Washington State's football, 1st and 10 at the 30.5-yard line.
And you know what? This is when you have to step up and say, congratulations to replay. Keith Zerbel, the replay official today. I mean, they called it and they saw it. They made the right decision.
Nigel, what do you got?
Yeah, you know, fellas, this is exactly what Jason Candle talked about right before the half, right? And these are the things that we've heard really from every game we've done so far, whether it was Coach Bray or whether we're at Oregon State, all the way down, is guys making mistakes that are costing them possession, costing them points. Open player does a great job, delivers the football, drop pass, right? This is the 3rd one on a 3rd down that Toledo has dropped that could have continued to drive, and now we can see if Washington State makes them pay for it.
Duggar's in at
with
quarterback.
the new quarterback.
Yes, it is. Freshman Julian Duggar from Pittsburgh. And this is what he has. He has legs and he has speed. He gets out and runs it for about 6 on first down.
Just quarterback counter. Good job. Allows his offensive lineman to get out in front of him. Brock Dew being one of them, and then just picks up about 7 yards on first down, and Zebi promptly back in the game.
And again, playing now with a little grayer skies above. Lights taking full effect in Pullman. Pulalasi is the running back. And Eckhouse keeps it and gets the first down. And we talked about tempo and fatigue, perhaps, later in the game for a Washington State defense, and how here's where your offense, the offensive line's banged up, but can they push a little bit here and allow Washington State to move the ball?
Well, I thought it was 2 really good calls, using their quarterback's legs in both instances, much differently, of course, but picks you up a good first down and moves the chains and keeps you going offensively.
Eckhouse 59 yards on the ground, 12 carries. Pulalasi. He gets about 3 there on first down with Braden Alls on the tackle for Toledo. It'll take us down to a minute, maybe a little less in the third quarter. No points in this quarter, although Toledo has threatened twice. Cougars have not threatened in this third.
Have they even been over their side of the 50 yet? I don't think so.
Maxwell Woods and Pulalasi in the backfield. And Eckhouse throwing it down the sideline, broken up. Trying to get Pabst. And Andre Fuller played that nicely. Played the ball.
We talked about how elite this back end was for this defense. Zebi gets a little shove there at the end, asking for a little help, but I thought all around good defense on that second down play.
A good no call there.
But he has to ask. That's a prerequisite for any quarterback who ends up on his keister.
3rd and 7. Maxwell Woods flexes out, so it's the empty backfield. 2 tight ends. Blitz coming. Eckhouse floats one up in the air, and it's intercepted again. Intercepted. That's 2 for Braden Alls. And a lost third quarter on offense for Washington State.
I mean, they bring a blitz that both from the slot side should have been right in his eyes. Kavion Sherman's the one that gets the pressure, and they're right at him, and he floats one. He gets hit, and the ball flips into the air a little bit, and Braden Alls again. I mean, he has no idea that they're coming down on him. Eyes completely to the left and just doesn't see the 2 free rushers coming from the slot receivers. Great call defensively.
Well, that's Vince Karras, the defensive coordinator at Toledo, dialed that up. It pays off. Gleason throws underneath, has Peterson, and near the end of the quarter, here's Toledo right back in Washington State territory. And Eckhouse has had a couple of honestly careless interceptions today, and now you see where Washington State ranks for the year, -9.
All come down to the pressure that they were under in both those circumstances where Zebi Eckhouse tried to get rid of the football. Both end up in Braden Alls' hands for very, very important turnovers.
Gleason flushed. We've got the sideline. Gets 4 yards and out of bounds. And that ends the third quarter. Well, the entire third quarter you felt like was played in Washington State territory. The good news for the Cougars, no points were scored. They'll take a 14-point lead to the fourth.
I'm Mike Mike Yam with the CW Studio Update presented by Ariat. We got fourth-ranked Alabama matching up against South Carolina. It's 14-6 in the third quarter. Check this out. Lenore Sellers to Nick Harper, 54-yard touchdown, two-point conversion failed. Bama holding on, 14-12. Ted looking for their first win against the Tide since 2010.
And Alabama has done a wonderful job of rebounding from their early season bump against Florida State. Looking over my shoulder, seeing San Diego State with a lead in the fourth quarter over Fresno State. San Diego State and Boise State, the two undefeated teams now in the Mountain West. And, of course, they'll be part of the new Pac-12. And there's a good hold. Boy, Gleason delivered a dart there, and it was held by Rudolph for a first down at the Washington State 24.
Boy, was it. It was a wonderful throw. Once again, double catched by Rudolph, but luckily he made the catch for the first down.
And Gleason there on a keeper. And he got hit first. Sophie Finau made the first strike to slow his momentum. Washington State, again, Bobby Terrell not playing today. The Cougars lost an awful lot, but they lost a lot just about all places, but they really lost a ton off their defensive line from last year. Second down, Connor Wallenczek is the back. And he is going to, well, he fought hard, didn't he? Sullivan Schlingen, a freshman who's playing some at the Mike linebacker spot now. The middle linebacker for Washington State made the stop. 3rd and 6 coming. Gleason no huddle. Hands it off. And Wallenczak. And now this is where rugby can only be stopped. And that's the right thing with the officials. Stop it. Blow the whistle.
Parker McKenna, a wonderful job of meeting him in that hole on 3rd down. Make the huge tackle, set up 4th down. Just can't speak to how well he used his eyes. Nigel?
Yeah, this is 4th, a huge critical down. Look for our showdown that we've been watching all game, right? Tucker Large in the slot.
There it is, slot at the bottom, 4th and 5. Field goal's no good here for Toledo. And Gleason steps away from the rush. Gleason rolling, Gleason throws low, and it's incomplete. And freshman Schlingen on the cover for Washington State. Pressure from Buda Paletti. And once again, Toledo is denied in Washington State territory. The Washington State defense has not broken.
I'm Mike Yam inside our CW studios. Coming up next, the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. Runners into Martinsville Speedway. Only 4 drivers who will punch their ticket to the championship finale. The NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs from Martinsville. It's coming up next, only on the CW.
All right, Mike, we still have just under 13 minutes to play here in Pullman. Washington State would love now to do something they've not been able to do, really run the game on the ground, run clock. Try it again with Voorhees on 1st down. Get a couple.
Well, speaking of which,
my favorite part of the show, here we go.
We're going to turn over a new leaf to fall with Ryan Leaf. And the scoring margin by quarter, listen, they have been horrendous in the 4th quarter. We want to see a finish. If you are a Washington State fan out there, close the game out. Showcase that you are physical enough to end games when everybody in the world knows what you're about to do on offense. We'll see if they can turn over that leaf here in the 4th quarter.
Cows running. Pulalasi came in for a block, but too many Toledo defenders there, and Chris Apollonia led the charge. Apollonia, amongst an experienced defense, he's kind of the youngster. He's only a sophomore. The guy that's been very impressive in his short time at Toledo. Earned his stripes by playing special teams as a freshman. That's something you hear often.
Not these days either. Usually you come in as a highly recruited player and you're not playing, and it's impressive. You're exactly right, and it showcases to a coaching staff that the guy's trustworthy.
So now 3rd down. Can the Cougars extend the drive? And Puolasi was hit just short. He did not get there. Last lunge was hopeful, but he's a yard short. And the punt team looks to be coming out.
It's a good play. He just, once contact happens, he gets help from the safety, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who we talked about, needing to be an impact player, and that's what he was. He got to stop there, and they're about to kick it back to Toledo, who has spent 20 of their 26 second-half plays. They've all been in Washington State territory, so with no points to show for it, I might add.
Ryan Harris to punt. That one low and angling, and he will get and gets a little, well, actually going to end up getting a nice little tack on the bounce and roll. So Toledo will start in its own half of the field, but that's what the Toledo defense wanted. They get the 3 and out, stopping Washington State from running the ball. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99, now with spicy 3-meat sauce. And by Ariat. When you're thinking boots and jeans, you're thinking Ariat.
I got a good pair of Ariat boots. I've had them for about 20 years. They're that good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There you go. The Ryan Leaf endorsement. Well, Toledo still in this game. We've not had any points in the second half. Most of this half's been played on the Washington State side of the field. And I assume Toledo's going to stay in a hurry-up mode here because that has seemed to work well for them.
At least to have some urgency in what they're doing. Not to get away from what makes them a solid football team. That's running the football, but they're going to have to show some urgency. No points to show for it in the second half and down 14 points.
So many extra bodies in for the Cougar defense. Donovan Fitzmaurice, a freshman, is in on that tackle as a linebacker. 2nd and 8. And Gleason rifled out. Oh, and there's an excellent tackle. That's the best tackle of the day. And there's the guy who made it, team captain Tucker Large. And that was a heck of a throw.
Yeah, he's lined up over the slot receiver, and he just kept gaining depth to the flat, and then is able to come up and make the tackle in space to set up 3rd down.
So 3rd and 3. The good part for Toledo, a lot of these must-have downs have been short yardage plays. Christian is next to Gleason. But Gleason again with plenty of time, and he throws it up the field, and there's the flag. So Vander Ross running up the field. This time it was Colby Humphrey on the cover. That looks to be a drive-extending penalty.
Pass interference. Defense. 15-yard penalty. It was also 1st down.
Nigel?
Yeah, Ted. So we've been watching this matchup of Vander Ross versus Large, and honestly, Tucker Large has really done a great job. So now the counterpunch for Toledo has been to hide him in various stack formations and bunch, and there they got what they wanted, the different matchup, and they took advantage, got the penalty, and extended the drive.
Now 15-yard penalty puts the ball at the Washington State 43. Christian leaks out, little tip interception. The drought ends. First interception of the year for Washington State. The tip ball caught by Parker McKenna.
That is an unbelievable statistic today, but just a great job of being in the right place in zone. Ball is open receiver, but it's not an accurate pass, just off his hand, and Parker McKenna is right there for the huge turnover in plus territory once again. Washington State up 14.
Washington State with the lead here in the fourth quarter. Look, anytime Ryan Leaf comes back to the Palouse, it's a special time. But there's another part of your life, Ryan, that is so admirable, and you had another chapter in it yesterday.
Yeah, it was a wonderful opportunity, and it worked out really well for me. Fellow Montanan is the CEO of Pacific Sky Recovery Center, and we opened up their new facility here in Spokane, Washington. They're doing amazing work for the disenfranchised, those that never really feel seen or feel heard, and we hope we gave them an opportunity yesterday to know they have a place to be and a solution found.
There's Voorhees on a first down run here. And again, if you don't know, maybe do a little Googling. You'll read a little bit more about Ryan's later life here and how admirable your efforts have been and how much, in extension of that, how many football teams you get asked to talk to, including Coach Jason Candle, who brought you how many years ago to Toledo?
That was the first year. Nick Saban was the first coach to bring me, and then Jason Candle in Toledo asked me to come out too, and I mean, I can't tell you how many coaches have given me this unbelievable opportunity to give back, and it's a reason why I'm standing next to you, Ted, that's for sure.
And second down, Eckhouse keeping it himself. Ooh, and he got leg tripped, but he is going to get, yep, he got the mark for the first down. Braden Alls kept that from being a much longer run.
You're exactly right, Ted. I mean, this is a shoelace away from being a jailbreak. Just clips it enough. We have a good angle there from the ump cam of grabbing that left leg, left shoelace just to get him down, but picking up the first down, still a big thing to move this clock late in this game.
67 yards on the ground now for Eckhouse. Standing there with a lot of time, and that ball broken up. Intended for Meredith toward the Toledo side of the field. Andre Fuller on the pass breakup. Career high rushing for Eckhouse with 67 today.
I thought this was a good read. He just puts a little too much air on it. This is a situation where you want maybe that Tucker Gleason fireball right there to get it in between those defenders in that time.
Well, what I was thinking about is, you know, the run game, straight run game, has not really dented Toledo today. Can you use the short, quick pass game as a substitute?
They've tried. It really depends on the guys they have out on the perimeter blocking.
Ooh, nice cut back there. That's a good run. Good effort by Kirby Voorhees. And that will give Washington State a short third.
You know, we've talked about this plenty today about the quarterback competition leading into the year, the understanding around the running game and what they wanted to do. But the difference maker today has been Zevi Eckhouse in every aspect of things, from his arm, of course, to the way he's been able to use his legs in the running game. I've been really shocked that we haven't seen that empty look here in the second half like they used in the first half. They had so many opportunities out of that formation, and we just haven't seen it in the second half.
So Washington State needs 3. And Voorhees will get it. And there was, from our viewpoints, a miss on the previous play.
Might have been a face mask. Yeah. Yeah.
That might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Very much so.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And Jimmy Rogers saw it. Well, that's big. So here's what Washington State is trying to do for the first time today, which is to really grind down as much of the remaining time on the ground. Keep that clock running. Toledo has 2 timeouts. And
great cut.
Boy, that's 2 plays, back-to-back plays like that. And Cougar fans appreciate that as the game clock goes under 6 minutes.
I mean, you have to really appreciate what they've done so far on this drive because, to your point, everybody in the entire stadium knows what they're going to do. They're going to run the football right now to decrease the clock, make them use their timeouts, and give them the best chance to win. Yet Toledo, which is outstanding at stopping the run this year, 2.5 yards per carry, hasn't been able to get it done here on the last few downs.
Voorhees plows his way in, and it looks like, well, let's see, the mark may be just a touch short, and it is. Just short. But one more first down here by Washington State will put the squeeze on Jason Candle to start worried about the clock. When do you use your timeouts?
The knee goes down right there before that extension. Great call by the officials down the line to see that that was short of the line to gain.
Need. You can see the approximation, maybe a little more than a half a yard. Does Eckhouse keep it? Yes, he does. He gets Lechner in there for the second cheek push. We have a flag down, though. And if that's on Washington State, that puts a different spin on things.
Offside.
No.
5-yard penalty. Also first down.
So first down anyway, and now on a drive where Washington State has run 7 plays and 6 have been running plays. Now Jason Candle on the Toledo side has to start thinking, how much of this game clock do I let roll? Remember, he used a timeout early, so he has 2 remaining.
We set the game clock 4:38. Start out my ready.
These officials ain't letting the
the
clock manager get away with nothing today.
A little timing problem today, but here we go. And again, now Eckhouse is an experienced quarterback. He's got to watch that play clock and snap the ball at 1. Toss, throw it deep toward the end zone, and boy, a flag is down. It should have been intercepted. All kinds of flags come in. Lechner was the receiver. Are they going to get McNeil Warren here?
And clearly all 3 officials are saying the same thing. So either they're all on the same page or they all saw the car crash from separate corners and have a different story. We'll find out.
Pass interference. Defense. 50-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, you see McNeil Warren's disbelief.
I'm surprised they threw the ball here.
I am
frankly.
so surprised, Brian. Thank you for saying that.
He's holding him. Yeah, I get that. I mean, they're banging each other like crazy all over the place. Nigel, your thoughts, DB?
Look, the fact that you thought that the other play was not pass interference earlier in the 3rd quarter on the sideline there on Washington State sideline, I'm still flabbergasted by that. I'm utterly confused. So I don't even know what to think anymore.
All right, here's Maxwell Woods getting the carry. I just want to go back to the previous play, and this is the thing that, as somebody gets puzzled in this era of advanced datas and things like that, at some point you're no longer playing the opponent, you're playing the clock. And Washington State right now is not playing Toledo. They're playing the clock. So you have to run the ball and force Jason Candle to use his timeouts, don't you?
You have to.
Yeah.
Find out if they're able to do any more here. Yeah. Down 14.
Start the season off right. Get game day ready. Scan the QR code to shop team swag and game day essentials from the CW Football Saturday Shop. Brought to you by Dick's. Every day starts at Dick's.
I think the bite in the lip part probably sells it for me, you know? Just, he's in the groove. Rain's coming down. He's going to be fun tonight, I bet.
Well, Washington State with a 2nd down and 7. If we can have things administered here, placing the ball, getting the clock set. Well, Zevi Eckhouse has been the bulk of the Washington State run game today. Although Voorhees has contributed nicely on this last possession. Voorhees up to 51 yards now on 12 carries. This is Eckhouse on the roll, and Eckhouse takes it down inside the 10. It'll be not quite a first down. But it will keep the clock running until Jason Candle calls a timeout.
That's the third and final of the half.
Let's take a look at today's Royal Caribbean game summary, and we're going to look at the importance of this Washington State defense. Great job being in the right place. Franksel with the tackle. Great pressure. Janikowski. And then wonderful defense down the sideline on fourth down plays here in the second half by the young freshman making the stop. And then for the first time all year long, Parker McKenna gets their first interception of the season. That's your Royal Caribbean game summary. This is incredibly impressive,
yes,
Ted.
It is.
I mean, we talked about the 2.5 yards per rush that Toledo was allowing. Washington State flips it on its ear, does exactly the same thing against this high-octane offense from Toledo.
Excellent. Well, first down here should salt it. They need 1 yard, and they'll get it. On the run by Voorhees, Toledo with no timeouts. The only stoppage will be for 2 minutes. And Washington State would love to score, but they can take their sweet time doing so.
Yeah, there's nothing better that could have happened right there than falling just a little short.
Exactly right.
Allow some more time to come off, and now let's put, if you're Washington State fans, let's put one more into the basket here and make sure it's completely out of touch for Toledo with only about 2.5 minutes to go for them.
Coming out in the pistol with Voorhees behind Zeviekhouse. And Kirby Voorhees is tackled short. That was McNeil Warren flashing in. And again, that's not necessarily the worst thing for Washington State because the clock will just roll on.
You'd like to see a score if you're going to try to. If they don't get into the end zone here, that will take it to the 2-minute timeout. I don't know if this could have been a better drive or to the point of what we made and what they needed to execute here in the fourth quarter to finish.
It's all been on the ground. Voorhees now alongside. Well, and the offensive line started too soon there. So that's going to make scoring a little more difficult. Going to back it up to the outside the 5. Well, it was such a problem last week for the Cougs in their game at Virginia. That's the first pre-snap penalty today by Washington State.
That's impressive. It's something they've been working on, really making it a point of emphasis, and to have that accomplished up to this point is a huge win for Jimmy Rogers and his staff.
So now the ball back to the 6-yard line. It's 2nd and goal. That's Trey Lechner. Yeah, look at that stack alignment. Now they shift. Direct snap to Voorhees. And Voorhees up the middle, and he's in for the Washington State touchdown. It's a different look they showed last week when the ball instead went to Duggar, freshman quarterback. This time it goes to Voorhees.
Yeah, really subtle, well done, and executed perfectly for the touchdown. This has been a solid effort by the Washington State Cougars today, taking the big lead and then the exclamation point here in the fourth quarter to put the emphasis on closing and finishing out this game.
High snap there is put down nicely by Harris, and Washington State on that drive did the one thing we're talking about. They were able to run the ball enough to grind the clock down and eventually score a touchdown. And Kirby Voorhees himself, 8 carries for 34 yards on that drive.
It's a tremendous job by the offensive line. You know, everybody knew what was going to happen. I mean, even you and I were so shocked that they tried to even throw the ball in this instant. They ran it when they needed to against a defense for the entirety of this season has been about stopping the run. And they were more physical at the point of attack. And then the running backs, I thought, did a great job of falling forward and getting and at least breaking a tackle to pick up a few extra yards to make those third down opportunities less difficult.
Offensive line coach, again, all the staff coming to Jimmy Rogers. Offensive line coach is Taylor Lucas in his first year with the Cougars. Here's the kickoff, and a progressive player of the game is Zevi Eckhouse.
Yeah, pretty easy. He's been everything to this offense in terms of through the air and on the ground. Couple maybe bad decisions in the second half on a couple interceptions, but he is definitely the only reason why he's today's player of the game, which is sponsored by Progressive.
Fit your scouting report as to why that change was made early in the season to give Zevi Eckhouse his job, as that pass over the middle is going to be really just short of a first down, and Toledo cannot stop the clock, so this is going to take us pretty close to the 2-minute timeout, and we get there before they let the ball go.
Oh my God.
Dumped off to Wallensack, the running back, who goes out of bounds, and now we'll get the 2-minute timeout at 1:55. So Washington State, hang on, we have a flag.
Personal foul. Face mask. On the offense, number 55. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, second down.
Well, so that wipes out a nice game, pushing Toledo deep back, and we'll invite you to stay tuned for the final 2 minutes of the game, presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. Well, as we head to the final 2 minutes, here's our snapback replay presented by the Active Cash Credit Card from Wells Fargo.
Huge plays down the field. First the flea flicker, then the play action. Accurate through to his receiver Meredith down the field. And then the big one to the freshman Pabst, who makes an unbelievable catch. Great focus, pulls it in. Offensive lineman gives him a little toss further into the air, and that's how this Washington State team battles back to get to 500.
All right, an incomplete pass there, and our replay was brought to you by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. Be a 2%er, earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases. Terms apply. Rains was predicted for all day today and didn't get here until about really just during this 2-minute timeout is when it really started to come down.
Yeah, it was coming down pretty hard there. Made for no excuses in this game. Both teams played incredibly hard.
Third down, little underneath throw. And dragging his way out to give Toledo its best shot. Terrell Crosby. It'll leave them with 4th down here. And again, no timeouts, so the clock runs. Remember, NASCAR Martinsville's coming up next on the CW. Washington State. We got all kinds of nonsense going on. We got footballs on the field. Goodness.
I know Canada plays with an extra player. Maybe they were just the MAC sometimes plays with 2 footballs. I
think they're trying to get a dry football on the field, and the previous place football was still out there, so that's been taken care of. Yeah. I feel like this is going to be a 65-minute game. I think we've had a lot of time put back on the clock, don't you?
It's like the injury time in soccer.
And that's going to be, let's see where the mark is. Do you get a first down? No. Wallensack out of bounds, short of the line to gain. Washington State will take over and kneel for victory.
Well, this is your first time in Pullman this year, Ted. I had the opportunity to call their opener against Idaho. A lot of unpleasant comments after the game about the team and the understanding of where this team had to go. At this point, 4-4 on the season. Jimmy Rogers' first year. I think they found the guy for the job.
Well, I'm going to say one person's opinion, which is just mine, but we've been around a lot. I'm impressed being here for the first time, just seeing the operation, how the team is playing today. They look like a football team.
They do.
Really good. And look, they have 2 home games remaining. We'll be back here for both of those on the CW. Louisiana Tech and Oregon State, as you see numbers from today. Washington State, with 4 wins, needs 2 more to guarantee a bowl game, though part of the still Pac-12's bowl alignments.
They get 2 opportunities versus Oregon State, of course. They have La Tech, and then they'll travel again to the East Coast and take on James Madison in Virginia.
And there's your final knee from Zebiakos as the rain's coming down in sheets now. And the Washington State Cougars on family weekend, their first home game in 35 days. And they come home and they take care of a very good program. Again, make no mistake, Toledo has been one of the best in the MAC, a good football league.
15 consecutive bowl bids by the MAC superpower. And, you know, Washington State, after a sluggish start, found a little something, exploited it, and made big plays. And I tell you right now, a 4-4 team coming off 2 tough losses, but incredibly competitive play. This is what was needed here for this Cougar team on the Palouse.
And after playing all season as independents this year, next week, the 2 Pac-12 schools will actually play each other for the first time. Oregon State and Washington State will play in Corvallis. They'll have a rematch here Thanksgiving weekend. We'll be here for that to wrap up our football season on the CW. Now we thank our crew, our producer Jason Arminio, director Scott Barkey, our terrific team, Bill Stevens, who does a magnificent job at Washington State. Special thanks to Dave Walcott and Joe Sonnenberg, who are terrific. For Ryan Nigel, I'm Ted. Next, we send you to Martinsville for the NASCAR playoffs.